Hi there. Today we're going to talk about how to solve two-step equations. Okay, so we've done this a little bit before, but to solve a two-step equation, it means it contains two operations inside the equation. So to do that, we have to essentially undo each operation in reverse order. Let's look at a couple examples, and then we'll work through some more samples together. So first we have an equation like this, negative 2a plus 6 equals 14. The first step is always to write that equation down. I'm going to write it over here just so we have a little bit more space for now, because there's always not enough space in our worksheet for us to do this here. When I look at this here, what I want to try to do is solve for a. I want to get the a isolated by itself. So to do that, it means I want to put the other things, the other numbers type of things, on the other side of the equal sign, and they get a by itself on one side of the equal sign, keeping everything balanced, meaning that as I do this, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, that's going to make that go away, essentially. 14 minus 6 is 8, and I bring this whole part down, so I have negative 2a equals 8. So what I've done is I've essentially moved the whole number over to the other side, leaving the negative 2a on this side of the equation. Now in order to separate the a from the 2, we remember they're joined together by multiplication, so I'll do the inverse of that, which is division. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And as long as I do the same thing to both sides, I'm going to be okay. So dividing negative 2 by negative 2 leaves me with just a 1, or essentially with a 1a on this side. And 8 divided by negative 2 is a negative 4. So that becomes my solution for this one. It also does want you to check your solution. And to do that, what it means is it says, let's just go ahead and take our equation that we had, and let's substitute that value of a in the place of a. So we're going to say negative 4 right here plus 6 equals 14. And then we check it out. Is that actually the case? Does negative 2 times negative 4, which is positive 8, plus 6, does that equal 14? Well, yes it does. 8 plus 6 is 14, so that's true, and that's how you check your solution to make sure it's correct. So there's always a way to see if your answer is right without having to watch a video or something either. You can always check it that way. Sometimes when you're solving a two-step equation, it's important to combine like terms first. So in this case here, what we see is we have an 8x and a negative 2x, and so it's good to put those together before we proceed. So you can see in the solution here, they've rewritten the equation, and they're going to take the 8x and the minus 2x, and that combines to a 6x there. Now, what they'll do is they'll add 7 to both sides, so adding 7 eliminates the whole numbers on this side, but it does on this side increase from 5 plus 7 to 12, so you're left with 12 equals 6x. Now 6 and x are joined together by multiplication, so we're going to use the inverse, which is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 6, leaving you with 2 equals x. The solution is 2. Can you check that? Certainly you can. You can plug it back in here and see if that works. And so you get 8 times 2 is 16, minus 2 times 2, which is 4, minus 7. Well, 16 minus 4 is 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. That equals 5, and it works. Okay, so it just takes a little bit of a process there to do that. Let's do a couple samples together before we send you off on your homework. Okay, so number 1, we have 2d plus 7 equals 9. So this one's pretty straightforward. I don't have any terms to combine, so I'm just going to subtract 7 from both sides. Bring down the 2d, equal stays the same. That is eliminated. 9 minus 7 is 2. So now I have 2d equals 2. We're going to divide both sides by 2. So on this side I'm just left with d equals 2 over 2, which is 1. Not too bad there. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 says 2s minus 4 equals 6. So again, we're going to add 4 to both sides in order to eliminate this one here. So 2s equals 6 plus 4, which is 10. Divide both sides by 2 because they're joined together in multiplication. And s is equal to 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, pretty straightforward there. Let's take a look at number 6. For 6 we have some like terms, so we're going to combine those. So first I'll rewrite this. Negative 14 equals 3x plus x minus 2. So first of all I want to combine those together. So 3x plus x is going to be equal to 4x. So negative 14 equals 4x minus 2. Now I'll add 2 to both sides. That's eliminated. Negative 14, positive 2 leaves me with a negative 12. equals 4x. We're going to divide both sides by 4. And negative 12 divided by 4 is a negative 3 is going to equal x. And that becomes my solution. So it's not too bad. Just takes some time to make sure you get that right. And again, I could plug that back in and check it out. The place where you're going to probably make some mistakes, you need to be careful about making mistakes, is just in the computation. Adding, subtracting negative numbers, dividing and multiplying negative numbers. Just be careful with that. Let's look at number 8 real quick. Number 8, we have 3 plus 7n plus 2n equals 21. So I'm going to combine some like terms. So 3 plus 7 plus 2 is 9. So 9n equals 21. We'll subtract 3 from both sides. So we're left with 9n equals 21 minus 3 is 18. Divide both sides by 9, and n equals 2. So again, pretty straightforward on how to do those. Just take your time, make sure you're careful on things. We'll look at one more before we move on. I'll look at one fraction one for you real quick, just so we're okay with those ones. Let's look at number 14. So then we have negative 1/3 q minus 7 equals negative 3. So first thing I'll do is I'll add 7 to both sides, so that I have negative 1/3 q on this side of the equal sign, and a negative 3 and a positive 7 equal positive 4. Now to get this separated, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, now the reciprocal is going to be a negative 3 over 1. Okay, so our negative 3. That's going to make this 3 times 1 is 3, 1 times 3 is 3, negative times negative is positives, end up with a positive 1 on this side. That's how that's going to go away. But it means I need to multiply this side also by a negative 3 over 1, or just negative 3. So 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and then we're done just like that. So make sure you multiply by the reciprocal, okay, on both sides, and keep the negative sign with it as well, so this side becomes a positive. You always want your variable to be a positive, so make sure it is a positive. If it's not a positive, then multiply the whole thing by a negative 1, right? And then you'll be in good shape. All right, I'm going to pause there. You're going to start your homework and then come back and check it with me in just a few minutes. All right, homework check for solving two-step equations. So first we have number 1. We have 3n plus 4 equals 7. So we'll subtract 4 from both sides. We have 3n equals 3 at that point. Divide both sides by 3. So that n equals 3 divided by 3 is 1. So n equals 1 for that one. For number 3, we have 4c minus 6 equals 2. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides, so that the 4c is by itself. 2 plus 6 is 8. Now we're going to separate the 4 and the c by dividing them. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, so we're left with c over here. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so c equals 2. Number 5. 3f minus 12 equals minus 3, or negative 3. I'm going to add 12 to both sides, add 12 to both sides. So I have 3f by itself over here equals negative 3 plus 12. All right, so I'm going to do 12 minus 3 is 9. Now I'll divide both sides by 3, because that's how they're joined together, is multiplication. So f equals 9 divided by 3, which is 3. Alright, number 7. Here we have 5d minus 6 equals 9. I'm going to add 6, add 6. So 5d equals 15. Divide both sides by 5. So d equals 15 divided by 5 is 3. Alright, number 9. Negative 5 equals 3m minus 14. So the difference here is they put the variable on the right side. Not a big deal. We just move things over, not a problem. Alright, so that goes away. 14 minus 5 is 9, equals 3m. We divide both sides by 3, so 3 equals m. And that's it there, or m equals 3. Doesn't matter how you write it, it still equals the same thing. Alright, number 11. 9a minus 2 equals minus 2. So we're going to add 2. Alright, so 9a equals negative 2 plus 2, which is 0. Well, that becomes complicated, right? So 9, divide both sides by 9. A equals 0 divided by 9 is 0, which makes sense. What's the only thing you can multiply by 9 to get to 0? Well, 0. So that's a weird one, but a does equal 0. Just seems funny, but it does work. All right, number 13. Negative 1 equals 4 minus 5x. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides to begin with. So negative 1 and negative 4 combine to make a negative 5, which equals a negative 5x. I'll divide both sides by negative 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is a positive 1. So 1 equals x, or x equals 1. Number 15. Negative 2x plus 12 equals 14. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So that negative 2x equals 2. Can divide both sides by negative 2, so that goes away. So x equals 2 divided by negative 2 is a negative 1. Number 17. Negative 2 equals negative x plus 4. We're going to go ahead and move that over there for now. So let's go subtract 4. So that combines to be a negative 6 equals negative x. Now we don't want to leave our variable in terms of a negative, so I'm going to multiply both sides by a negative 1. Again, whatever I do on one side, if I do it on the other, it's going to be okay. So negative 1 times a negative x equals a positive x. Negative times negative is positive. Negative 1 times a negative 6 is going to equal a positive 6. So my answer is x equals 6. And you could check that one by plugging it back in here, right? So if I put a 6 in here, this becomes a minus 6, because just there's a minus in front of it, right? So negative 6 plus 4 is a minus 2. Number 19. 12 minus 3x equals 6. We're going to subtract 12. So negative 3x equals minus 6. Now we'll divide both sides by negative 3. So x is equal to 6 divided by 3 is 2, negative divided by negative is positive, so we have positive 2. Number 21. 13 equals 18 minus 5x. We're going to subtract 18 from both sides, so that goes away. So on this side we're left with a negative 5 equals negative 5x. Divide both sides by negative 5, so positive 1 equals x, so x equals 1. Okay, number 23, coming to the end here. Here we're going to combine some terms before we move forward. So let's combine these guys together first and rewrite this as negative 18 equals 9 minus 5 is 4y plus 10. Now I'll subtract 10 from both sides and have negative 28 equals 4y. Divide both sides by 4. Negative 28 divided by 4 is negative 7, which equals y. In this next one here, I have a 3z and a 2z, so I'm going to combine those together to make a 5z minus 17 equals 13 when I rewrite that one. Okay, so I just combined and rewrote. Now I'm going to add 17 to both sides. 5z equals 30. Divide both sides by 5. And z equals 30 divided by 5, which is 6. Number 27. I have a 9r and a minus 7r, which combine to make 2r. So I have minus 15 equals 2r plus 1. Let's subtract 1 from both sides. We have negative 16 equals 2r. Divide both sides by 2. So negative 8 equals r, or r equals negative 8. And finally, our last one today, we have 2c and a negative 6c, which combined for a negative 4c. So we have negative 27 equals negative 4c minus 7. Add 7 to both sides, goes away. We have negative 20 equals negative 4c. Dividing both sides by negative 4. Negative divided by negative is positive. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Negative divided by negative is going to be positive. We have a c. So c equals 5. All right, that's it for solving two-step equations. Hope that helps you out, and we'll see you next time.